This movie really made me want to see a live action Gundam movie. Like now. Ready Player One is directed by Steven Speilberg and is based on a novel by Ernest Cline. And I'll be honest, I really wasn't sold on any of the trailers. I wasn't familiar with the property and the trailers really didn't do anything to really pull me in because honestly it just looked like Remember the 80s, the movie. But surprisingly, it was a lot better than what I expected going in. The story is centered around the main character of Wade, who's obsessed with the virtual reality game The Oasis, created by James Halliday. And following his death, Halliday revealed that he left 3 clues leading to an Easter egg within the game, and whoever unlocks the Easter egg, they will gain ownership of the company itself. And Wade, along with his friends, are racing to unlock the 3 keys so that they can be the first to get the Easter egg and gain ownership of the company. But of course, there's an evil corporation who wants to take over the world. They're also in the race to try to be the first to get the Easter egg. And they not only pose a threat inside the game, but also in the real world for Wade. I'm gonna be honest, I really enjoyed this movie a lot more than what I expected going in, like a lot. I wasn't expecting to like this movie as much as I did. And in spite of it having a simple plot, it really works for the movie. Honestly, all Spielberg did was made a modern day 80s adventure movie, and it really works because, like I said, I was expecting it to just be like a nostalgia fest going in based on all the pop culture references I saw from the trailers, but it was a lot more to it than that, and the references had their place within the film because the character of Holiday, he grew up around that time, so yeah, he was fascinated with the 80s, and to understand and figure out the clues, they had to study his life and, you know, some of the things that he loved and was attached to throughout the film. And that's what really sparks a lot of the interest in the 80s culture for a lot of the, you know, characters in the film, because the film takes place in 2045, but it's, you know, a lot of 80s references and a lot of, you know, 80s obsession and stuff like that. So it's understandable in the context of the film, and it's not as shallow as I thought going in. The visuals in this movie were pretty amazing, especially in the first race early on in the film, and as well as the final climactic battle at the end. I feel like they really did a great job displaying a lot of their different characters and their abilities and things like that. And it all looks amazing on the big screen. You got a really great cast here, and I feel like Olivia Cooke was a bit of a standout here. I feel like she really delivered a strong performance as the character of Artemis in the film, and I feel like she brought a lot of heart to the character as well. I also really like the character of Halliday. I feel like he was great in the film. I wish we would have got a little more of him, but the scenes that you do get with him, he really kind of pulls you in, and he really makes you intrigued about his life as a person. And it was also nice to get a glimpse of all that in the film. The villain was perfect here. Ben Mendelsohn, he really does a great job in that role as well. You can tell he had a lot of fun with this character, and like I said, it's a typical 80s movie. So, you know, he's the evil corporate guy who's willing to go to extremes to stop a few kids from doing whatever they're trying to do or ruining his plans. And like I said, in the context of the film, it works. And as simple as that sounds, I don't know, I can't explain it. It really just works for me in the film. And I also really like T.J. Miller's character. You know, he had a small role, but he was pretty funny in most of the scenes he was in. I honestly didn't catch half of the references here in the movie because there's so much going on at once on the screen, but you know, I did see like the Battletoads, the Ninja Turtles, and, you know, the obvious ones, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other ones that kind of went under the radar because there's so much going on and being thrown at you at once on the screen. But a lot of the characters and references were used in pretty cool ways for the most part. Also, that end fight, I won't spoil anything, but if you're a fan of giant robots fighting giant monsters, you won't leave disappointed. But of course, no film is perfect, so let's talk about some of the cons in the film. The character Wade, he's kind of annoyingly dumb in certain parts of the film. You know, after he wins the first key, you know, he's told specifically, like, hey, you're a little famous now. Maybe you should disguise yourself so you're not as obvious in the game and you don't stand out as much. And literally in the next big scene, he pops up with no disguise and gets swarmed, and that leads to trouble down the line for him because he didn't listen. Also, there's a part in the film that should have had a more impactful, you know, effect on the film, but it really doesn't. It's kind of glossed over pretty quickly. It's mentioned a bit later, but it doesn't impact the film nearly as much as you would think it would, and I felt like that stood out a bit. Like I said, this is an 80s movie. It just happened to come out in 2018, but a lot of the dialogue, I believe, was intentional to be delivered in certain ways and is intended to be a little, you know, flat at times, but I feel like there were a couple instances that stood out as particularly bad, and the dialogue itself can be pretty bad and generic at times. Overall, I really had a lot of fun with this movie. I really came out of the theater like I was ready to give it a 10, but you know, obviously we can't do that objectively, but I'm honestly really shocked at how entertaining this movie was. And in spite of the simple plot, the great characters and the great visuals all come together to make a compelling story that, you know, you really kind of care about towards the end of the film, and I felt like it had an okay message to the film as well. And while I did have its flaws, none of those really ruined the film for me or really brought it down a lot. So I'm going to give Ready Player One an 8 out of 10. If you haven't already, you should definitely check this out in theaters because it definitely needs to be seen on the big screen, and I'm definitely going to go see it again. And if you have seen it, let me know what you guys thought of it down in the comments. Next, I'll be reviewing all of the Marvel movies leading up to Infinity War, and I guess I'll call it the race to Infinity War. So subscribe and make sure you click the bell so you can get notifications on all of that and you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.